Did Donald Trump just light the fuse on a new trade war? With a single announcement, he's doubled steel and aluminum tariffs. And now, North America's economic engine is starting to smoke. Let's break down what just happened and why it might reshape the future of your job, your car, and your wallet. On May 30th, 2025, President Donald Trump pulled the trigger on one of the most aggressive trade moves we've seen in years, doubling tariffs on imported steel and aluminum from 25% to a punishing 50%. That's right, 50%. The move takes effect June 4th and was pitched as a way to protect American jobs and restore domestic manufacturing muscle. But beneath the patriotic packaging, there's a storm brewing, and it's heading straight for America's closest ally, Canada. Canada isn't just a friendly neighbor. It's the backbone of America's metal supply. Every year, Canada churns out around 15 billion Canadian dollars in steel and supports more than 100,000 jobs in the process. That supply doesn't just keep Canadian mills humming. It feeds American car plants, machinery factories, and skyscraper construction sites. And the impact was immediate. Catherine Cobden, head of the Canadian Steel Producers Association, called the move a disaster in the making. Meanwhile, Canada's aluminum industry, where nearly 95% of production is shipped directly to the U.S., now faces what experts describe as a full-scale economic gut punch. But it's not just Canada that's bracing for impact. In the U.S., critics are sounding alarms. Car manufacturers, equipment makers, and builders now face rising material costs that will get passed down to buyers. Translation: higher prices at dealerships, slower production lines, and a real risk to thousands of American jobs. These industries are like engines. Remove just one part, and the whole machine sputters. This isn't a skirmish, it's a collision. And Canada? It's not sitting quietly in the passenger seat. Just days after Trump's announcement, Canada fired back. Prime Minister Mark Carney rolled out a swift counterstrike, a 25% tariff on U.S. steel and aluminum imports, targeting nearly 30 billion Canadian dollars in American goods. But that's just the beginning. Carney's team is playing a smarter, longer game, launching massive infrastructure investments designed to harden the economy and reduce reliance on American markets altogether. We're talking new pipelines, nuclear energy upgrades, and expanded trade routes toward Asia. This isn't just damage control. It's a national reboot. And for those watching the automotive world, this is a tectonic shift. New trade corridors mean new supply routes, new partners, and potentially fewer dependencies on the U.S. auto economy. The message from Ottawa is loud and clear. Canada's future won't ride solely on American demand. But if steel and aluminum were the opening round, Canada's oil sector might be the knockout punch. Every day, Canada ships nearly 4 million barrels of crude oil south, most of it to American refineries. That pipeline is worth over $130 billion annually. And for many U.S. refineries, especially in the Midwest, Canadian crude isn't just convenient, it's irreplaceable. Now, Canada isn't talking about cutting the cord entirely. The economies are too tightly wound for that. But whispers in Ottawa suggest something else: redirection, a pivot east. Even a partial shift in crude exports could jolt U.S. markets with fuel shortages and price spikes. Some analysts warn it could suck $30 to $35 billion out of the U.S. economy each year. This oil card isn't just symbolic. It's strategic and devastatingly effective, and it's backed by real infrastructure. Canada's Trans Mountain expansion, set to triple pipeline capacity to 890,000 barrels per day, is the bridge to Asia. With China and India stepping up as eager buyers, Canada's playbook is clear: fewer eggs in the American basket. Just in March 2025, China's oil imports via Canadian ports blew past 7 million barrels, making it a top buyer. And this isn't just about crude. It's about influence, leverage, and long-term independence. So what does this mean for the average worker, the car buyer, or the small business owner? The next few months will be critical as this trade showdown continues to escalate. And with billions in cross-border trade on the line, neither side can afford to blink. As tariffs bite down on both sides of the border, industries are doing the math, and the numbers aren't pretty. Canadian manufacturers, especially in the auto sector, are facing a hard truth. Access to their biggest export market is being throttled. From steel fabricators in Ontario to aluminum processors in Quebec, the ripple effect is real. Some plants have already announced production slowdowns. Others are warning of layoffs if supply chains don't stabilize. The Canadian economy could lose billions in lost output and reduced foreign investment, especially if global buyers view North America as a volatile trade zone. But here's the kicker. U.S. industries aren't escaping unscathed either. For decades, American companies have relied on seamless, duty-free imports from Canada. Tariffs slammed the brakes on that efficiency. Car makers, aerospace giants, construction firms, they're all now staring down ballooning costs. One executive from Michigan auto plant put it bluntly, "We're not buying cheap Chinese steel. We're buying North American steel that's suddenly twice the price. And someone's got to pay for that. Consumers, of course, will foot the bill. Higher vehicle prices, longer wait times for repairs, and rising costs for everything from refrigerators to tractors are likely. Inflation, already a touchy subject in Washington, could get a fresh boost just in time for a contentious election season. The U.S. and Canadian economies are deeply integrated. When one misfires, the whole system shudders. And right now, that engine's not running smoothly. The fallout from this trade war isn't just economic, it's political dynamite. In the U.S., the 2026 midterm elections are coming into focus. Trump's decision to double tariffs is already being framed as either a bold stand for American workers or a reckless move that could backfire. Rust Belt voters may cheer the protectionist stance, but business owners, unions, and middle-class families feeling the squeeze might not be so forgiving. Republicans are rallying behind Trump's message of economic nationalism, but Democrats are capitalizing on the backlash from key industries. Expect this battle over tariffs to become one of the biggest flashpoints in campaign debates. And in Canada, Prime Minister Carney's approval ratings have soared. For now, his assertive stance and long-term vision for infrastructure and trade diversification are winning praise across party lines. But pressure is mounting to show results. If layoffs grow or key exports stall, that goodwill could evaporate fast. Both leaders are walking a tightrope. Protect their economies, defend national pride, and avoid plunging into a full-blown recession. One misstep, and voters will be the ones handing down judgment at the polls. This isn't just a trade dispute. It's a wake-up call. For years, North America enjoyed a relatively stable, integrated economic zone. NAFTA, and later USMCA, created a framework that made cross-border business frictionless. But now that framework is being tested like never before. Canada's response, diversifying trade, investing in pipelines, and leaning into Asia, isn't just reactionary. It's visionary. It's preparing the country for a future where the U.S. is no longer the automatic first option. And the U.S., whether it likes it or not, may find itself on the losing end of that pivot. As more countries see Canada as a global player with reliable energy and raw materials, America's trade dominance faces real competition. This is the dawn of a new trade era, one where old alliances don't guarantee economic security, where countries like Canada are building Plan BS and even Plan CS, and where industries from automotive to energy must adapt or fall behind. So what happens next? More negotiations, more headlines, more unpredictability. But one thing is clear, this isn't just about tariffs. It's about resilience, sovereignty, and the future of how nations do business in a fractured world. And that's where we are, hurtling down a road with no clear map, just high stakes and heavy consequences. But now we want to hear from you. Do you think Trump's tariff gambit will strengthen American industry or sink it? Will Canada's pivot make it more independent or more vulnerable? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Your insight helps keep this conversation alive. And if you found this breakdown helpful, make sure to hit like, smash that subscribe button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching Global Pulse, where the world's biggest stories hit the fast lane. Until next time, stay sharp and stay informed.